Okay, so next we're going to put our main gear into our frames and then insert the built head that we just completed down into the frames, and basically we're then going to be using the spacers which I showed you earlier that come with the main mast, these things, to make sure we've got no vertical play. These just basically go on the main mast. I'll just quickly show you. So here's our main mast. These insert on the bottom there like that. And basically that sits above our upper bearing, and you add more washers, or as many as you need, to get rid of any vertical play in the shaft. So that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to insert that down into the frames. Okay, so there you can see our main gear installed into the machine and the head seated down, and we've now got to connect up rods to the swash plate from here and the bell crank on the other side, and also put our A-arm on. I only needed a single spacer on my mast at the top here to make sure I've got no end play. So now it's just a case of connecting these rods up to the swash plate, and then the last thing I've got to do is run the push rod from the boom at the back here, from the servo down the boom and through the boom, the push rod supports on the boom, and secure those in place. And then we're pretty much complete from a mechanical point of view, and we're on to the electrical setup. Okay, so I've now fitted the tail push rod, and I'm just showing you how the supports for the push rod are secured. Basically you just insert a tie wrap underneath it, wrap it round, put it through and cut it off, and then that holds the support in place. And you have three of these, two in front of the horizontal support, horizontal fin, and one behind the horizontal fin, and they're about 20 centimeters apart, so fairly even spacing, and they just support the push rod. So if I just bring the machine out here, you can see there's one supporting the push rod, and then it goes down to the tail at the bottom. If I just rotate the machine over here, you can see it connecting onto the bell crank at the back there. And then in terms of the front of the machine, I'll have to lay the machine down here to try and show you this. Okay, so if we just bring the camera around and just angle it up. Okay, let's get my shadow out of it here. So you can see the push rod goes all the way up to the servo at the back here where it's clipped on. Basically just make sure you've got a nice straight run all the way down the push rod, and it should be fine. Okay, so we've kind of completed the mechanical build now, so we're moving on to some of the electrical install. This is the Align 3G flybless sensor. This is going to go on the machine at the front here, on the little gyro platform at the front, and it's got a little arrow on it which needs to go, this little arrow here, which needs to go back, front to back. So that will be mounted on like that, like so. And then I've got the 3G control box here. I'm likely going to mount that right in front of it on the front battery tray. Just move this back slightly so you can see. So I'm probably going to put that on the front battery tray right there. So I've only got a really short linkage then, because there is a very short linkage cable that comes with the 3G, this little one here. So I have a nice short linkage between my control box and the 3G sensor itself. I've also got to put the blades onto the model. It comes with, I'm just going to check the size actually, because I can't remember exactly what size they are. 690D. Yeah, 690D blades. I've got one of those here, so you can see the 690D blade. And these are, you know, a stiff 3D type blade, and perfectly adequate for a 700 electric. Should provide a nice crisp performance for the machine. So what I'm going to do now is really work on the electronic side of this and get that all hooked up. I'm going to be fitting a Castle 110 speed controller to it, and an LEQ regulator and the next time we come back on the video, it's basically going to be having completed the electronics install, and really just to show you how everything went into the machine, and how it's all been finished off. And of course we'll take a look at the canopy, which we haven't had a look at yet. Okay, so I've done the electronics install now, and you can see that there's a fair old mess of wiring here. Just to take you through what we've got the sensor unit at the top here on a single pad. I think just a single pad will be okay because this is an electric machine, there shouldn't be too much vibration. Next to that we've got the control box, and that's connected by the short wire to the 3G unit. At the front here I've got a Spectrum AR9000, which is my choice of receiver. Underneath here we've got a 4000 milliamp 2S LiPo, and hidden in here is an LEQ regulator. This is the 10 amp LEQ regulator, so this wiring that's going on here is basically just between the regulator and the 3G control box and the receiver itself. So what I'll do now is I'll just turn the machine round a little so you can see the other side of the radio tray and what's mounted up there. Okay, so I apologise for the bit of wobble on the camera here, because I'm having to hand hold the camera just to film this bit because I can't get a good angle on the model with the tripod. So what you can see, this side of the frames is the speed controller, which I said it was a 110 amp ESC, but actually this is the 80 amp Castle. 80 amp is plenty enough for a 90 size model running on 12S. And then you can just see the satellite for the AR9000 down the bottom here. One thing else I want you to see is that the wire from the tail servo I've run down the outside of the frames into a little servo extender here. So this is a servo extension to go around and basically into my receiver at the top there. Now the reason I chose to run that wire down the outside is because there's a lot going on inside the frames because of this sliding battery tray, and I could see that this would get damaged or unplugged if I ran it down the inside of the frames, so it was a lot easier just to run that down the outside of the frames to keep it out of the way. Now if we just come up over the top of the model here, should be able to see down in there the connections for the speed controller. You can see those just down in here. Here's the connectors from the motor to the speed controller, which are kind of looped through the frames through there. Okay, so that's the radio installation, and I hope you found that useful.